What time's the cure?
It's No Time to Die, Alex.
It's one of the better ones we've done.
Right, get past it now.
So what are we talking about today? Of course, the Daniel Craig Bonds, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because we were originally going to do James Bond, but then it was a case of there's no point in talking about every single Bond film because you will not get to it.
Yeah.
I think that was more apparent in.
And most of them are probably not enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, I think you can talk about a collection of films. Like, I think if you were going to talk about the Bond films, you would have to do it by actor, by Bond essentially, rather than we'll do this and this and that, and we'll do the first three and stuff, because then it would kind of feel weird in that kind of a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine we'll get through all of them in a weird order eventually, from Craig to Brosnan to Connery to
Oh, well, I won't be
Mur.
watching Connery. You know that. Not a fan.
So which ones had you not seen before?
After cramming them in a week before then, I had seen Casino Royale, which I kind of remembered because I thought it was really cool. I think I've seen Quantum of Solace, but I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, that's most people.
And I remembered I remembered Act 3 in Skyfall. Because I remember E dying. Or not E, him. Don't laugh at me again.
Should we explain this, or should we wait till later?
I don't know why I kept thinking her name was
We'll wait till later.
What does the M stand for? Mother?
No, I think it is her name or something. I think
because he's M then as well.
Yeah, I can't remember why. I
don't know why I kept thinking it was E. Because it's not as if they don't say it in the movie enough.
Yeah. Because I remember you said, you remember E and stuff. I was like, who the fuck's E? I remember Q. I remember M. I don't remember fucking E.
Too many letters.
But yeah, no, because what essentially we did was we watched all the Bond films, or all Craig's Bond films, except for Quantum. Because but the weird thing is, the reason we did that was because we're obviously No Time to Die was coming out, and I wanted to rewatch them, and I was thinking, no, there's no way they're gonna bring up anything about Quantum in No Time to Die, and I was right once again that they only brought up the ones people liked, which are Casino Royale, Skyfall, and Spectre.
The other three, yeah.
Well, not that people like Spectre, but we'll get onto that later. But yeah, I think we'll just do a wee rundown per film essentially before talking about the big one.
Yeah.
No Time to Die.
Well, Casino's obviously your favourite.
Well, yeah, no.
Yeah,
I think.
Great.
Well, it's my favourite Bond, not even just my favourite Craig.
Yeah. I would even rewatch it right now. To be honest, I really liked it.
Yeah, because it is the one I tend to rewatch.
Yeah.
I'd rewatch Skyfall probably. But at the same time, I'm kind of I kind of just know everything. I kind of more my reason for watching Skyfall is just Deacons. But no, I think there's something really nice about Casino Royale because the action sequences are great. The story is interesting, even though it's about 40 minutes of poker. It's interesting.
And Daniel Craig's so fresh. And
yeah, he's just so good
great.
as Bond.
Yeah.
It's such a good introduction to Bond.
Yeah.
I kind of treat it as Batman Begins.
I was going to bring that up.
Kind of a thing. Because Batman Begins very much inspired that Bond film, because Batman Begins is coming out and they were like, oh, we could probably just do this with Bond.
Perfect 3-act structure?
Well, yeah, because I remember reading something really interesting. It was there were so many different ideas. They didn't know what they were going to do for Casino Royale. They didn't know if Brosnan was going to be back. That was a big thing for a long time, that Brosnan was going to return.
Oh God.
Tarantino was originally going to do Casino Royale with Brosnan as an older Bond.
I would watch that film.
Older Bond. It was going to be in black and white,
Oh.
And there was going to be no dialogue, and it was just going to be, it was going to be narrated, where it was just going to be like the book being read over just the film happening.
Oh, wow.
So it was very kind of strange, experimental in that kind of a sense. But Quentin Tarantino's Casino Royale.
I couldn't watch Pierce Brosnan in anything because I haven't. Well, I've only seen the one where he surfs a tsunami. I don't remember the whole film.
No Time to Die. Yeah. Is it No Time to Die? Or no,
No,
sorry, not No Time to Die.
What is it?
Die Another Day.
Yeah, no.
See, that's the problem with Bond. Every title that has die in it, they sort of all blend together. It's like Live and Let Die, you know. They all kind
there's
of...
James Bond there, and somebody's going to die.
But they all kind of blend into one.
I mean, the only thing I know Pierce Brosnan from is... what do you call that film with Mrs. Doubtfire? So that's my experience.
James Bond, essentially. And
so it's just so hard to like take him seriously in a role which I kind of take the character pretty seriously. I know it isn't like it's not really serious or anything, those movies. It's just like, he's just not cool.
Well, yeah, I think after Brosnan played Bond, it was just like he's always kind of that character in films.
Yeah.
Like, if you ever notice it, like, even Miss Doubtfire, they try and pull it off, like, oh, he's Bond. You know, he has a Mercedes and stuff, you know. Which is kind of strange, but interesting in a way. I
think, though, that's just my opinion, because, like, I know so many people think Pierce Brosnan is amazing and so cool. I just can't get behind him. I don't think he's cool.
Well, I don't know.
I don't dislike him, I just don't think he's cool. He doesn't have that kind of charm the same way Craig does.
Yeah.
But I think that's just because Craig is a different kind of charm.
Yeah, I think Craig's probably the most realistic Bond, essentially.
Yeah.
But it's very weird you mentioned Brosnan, because they got the same director from GoldenEye to do Casino Royale, which I think is kind of weird but interesting. Mm-hmm. But I think it's more the fact that, because I think GoldenEye is very much kind of a Bond origin type film. It's not really a Bond origin film, but other than Casino Royale, it's the closest in a way.
Okay.
Sort of, even Dr. No, it's kind of like, he's kind of established, you know, all this.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that's probably why they got him to do it. Plus, it was the most well received Brosnan. I think even Bond in general film.
Up until the Craig movies.
Yeah, up until the Craig films, like, because it's weird. The Craig films made a ton of money. It was weird because, like, even Spectre made like 800 million or something. But I think that was more over the hype of Skyfall. Skyfall made $1 billion.
Oh, okay.
Because Skyfall made $1 billion because it was a big year, because it was 50th anniversary of Bond. Like,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
I liked Skyfall.
Yeah, because I just kind of find it weird that there is this like weird gaps in between his films. Because you have like a normal 2 years in between Casino Royale, Quantum.
Yeah.
Then you have 4 in between Quantum and Skyfall. Mm-hmm. Then you have 3 in between Skyfall and Spectre, which you're like, it's not too bad, 3, fair enough.
Yeah.
But then now you have 5.
I know, yeah. Well, it was going to be what?
Well, no, it was going to be 5. It's 6.
Oh, really?
It was going to be 5, but that was mainly because they weren't sure whether Craig was going to do No Time to Die or not yet. Oh, they didn't know whether he was going to do Bond 25, essentially. Mm-hmm. And it flip-flopped to directors, because Danny Boyle was very much into production. Mm-hmm. I think he had like 6 months to a year in pre-production before it was like, no, create differences, and they changed.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Danny Boyle Bond movie.
Yeah, because he directed the London Olympics 2012. The Bond segment where it's Craig like talking to the Queen and stuff, and he directed that.
Okay.
So it was that kind of nice kind of a link in a way.
Mm-hmm.
God, 2012 was a big year for Bond though.
Yeah.
I think everyone's on this kind of Bond hype at the minute, no, or now because of No Time to Die. Like, I know I am. Like, I genuinely want to go back and rewatch the Craig films again, nearly, even though I'm literally just after watching them. Like,
I know. I think Bond is really accessible, though. Like,
well, everyone knows the name James Bond.
Yeah, and it's like they're not. I don't know how to describe it. You know, like some people are not really into action movies. I feel like, because I'm not massively into action movies, but that's why I never really watched Bond. But I really, really enjoyed the whenever we watched them all during the week. I just think there's something a wee bit more. I don't know. They kind of cater to a broader audience, maybe, than like, say, if not everybody's into Marvel or DC or like mainstream cinema. I think that's very mainstream.
I think that's more of Craig's Bond now than the previous ones. But I think the good thing about Craig's Bond is if you like that, it can get you interested into the previous one.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of weird because it kind of started with that Batman Begins. Then Bond did it. Then Tom Cruise saw obviously what Bond was, and it was like, no. Mission Impossible is meant to be the cool one. Then that's what Mission Impossible did.
Yeah.
And then there like now kind of those kind of like spy films. They're all trying to be kind of realistic, but also a good balance between the two.
I think in the realm of like, we know this can't possibly happen.
Oh yeah.
But it's wee bit more
believable than like previous Bond.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's weird. What I meant to say was, I think it was Jason Bourne, then it was Batman, then it was Bond, and then it was Mission Impossible, and then it's, whatever it is now, like, essentially.
I haven't seen any of the Bourne movies. I need to watch them.
I watched the first one, but I didn't watch the ending. We must watch them because I do want to watch them. I've only seen one in its entirety, which was Bourne Legacy with Jeremy
Renner. Yeah.
I saw that in cinema, which was, I was kind of like, wait, what the fuck's going on? Like, because I hadn't seen the other three, but it's kind of like the fourth film, but not really. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I want to do the Bourne movies, and I want to do Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible, definitely.
I wanted to do that like whenever the last one came out, but it was too many films to binge.
Yeah.
And I didn't have enough time.
Mission Impossible, like it's soon to kind of like the next one's coming out soon, essentially. So
is it?
Next year.
Oh, okay, got a bit.
But soon is the next. It's quite still.
That's
soon,
still good enough time because they might. I know the third one is meant to be terrible. Anyway, digressions.
The third one.
Yeah.
Fourth one's Brad Pitt. Fourth one. Weird thing is, I've only seen 2 Mission Impossibles. The fourth one, and the most recent one.
Is it? Which one is Henry Cavill in it?
The most recent one, Fallout.
I want to watch that.
It's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable film, like. But yeah, they're filming those 2 back to back. The new one. Oh. Like straight, they're just filming it back to back. The last 2. They say the last 2. Haley Atwell, big cast. Haley Atwell knows them and stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, I digress.
Yeah, back to
Casino Royale. I think this film works in many ways because it does Bond really well.
Yeah.
It does. I think it still has the best relationship.
What do you? Like love interest relationship.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In the whole franchise.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Is it because you love her though, or is
it?
Eva
Green? Yeah. No, I just think it's done really well for one film because, like Spectre, for example, I don't find it believable in Spectre. I find it believable in No Time to Die. I don't find it believable in Spectre though.
Well, yeah, no, maybe No Time to Die is.
But it's because she had 2 films.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I give Eva Green the benefit like she only had the one.
Yeah.
She's only in half the film. Yeah, I think it's probably the most believable. And at that point, you'd be like, oh, you don't need us. Like, even if the villain was shit, you'd be fine. But the villain's very interesting.
Yeah.
But the weird thing about the villain is they kill the villain off.
Quite early.
At the end of the second act.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of strange. Because then they have like I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to set up the whole Spectre thing.
Yeah.
And they were trying to do the whole secret society thing. It's like, oh, you've all these villains. But I find it very weird that, you know, they got Mads Mikkelsen, and Mads Mikkelsen wasn't as big as he is now, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like he was only starting to come into like American cinema at that stage. Like that was probably one of his first big roles. But he's such a compelling villain in that he's very desperate to just, you know, basically get his life back to normal.
I think he has that kind of silent
It's just mad
intimidation though, isn't it? Like
he can just stare at you,
yeah,
and you'd be freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, which I think is so much better than a villain being really grand, like in your face kind of a way. He's just that silent evil kind, not evil, but you know what I mean. Like they're just, I think that's creepier.
Yeah, and then there's also like the worst torture sequence I've ever seen in a film. And worst as in, I mean, it's done really well. It's just painful as fuck to watch.
yeah.
Because it's such a simple torture scene. Because there's no blood or like for PG-13, they really push PG-13, like don't they?
Yeah.
Like it's very threatening.
Yeah.
I
think one thing we were chatting a lot about was like the practical effects, because it looks really good and it stands. Kind of like Batman Begins and that too.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of that, you know, from that as well.
Yeah, and it obviously has aged so well because you know,
because it's practical.
Yeah,
because like I'm trying to think, there's no CG, and if there is, it's very little, and it's very unnoticeable. Because like even that building collapsing, I imagine was miniatures. Mixed with some green screen or something, you know. But it's very realistic.
Yeah.
To watch.
No, it looks great, the whole film.
I think it's something that, well, we'll talk to you about, you know, in the next one that we're going to talk about. But it's the ones where you can see the progression of, oh, we'll just slowly add in CG to the point where it's like, oh, right, this is just CG, you know.
But the technology obviously had been advancing all along. So. But
I still think you should have that kind of perfect blend between both.
Yeah.
Because
I think it
looks good now,
yeah,
but it won't in 10 years.
Yeah.
That kind of a way. You know. Like if you look at something now and you're like, Jesus, that looks bad. How fucking bad is it gonna look in 10, 20 years? You know what I mean?
I think as well though, for me, now I've kind of associated Bond with practical effects. So when they don't do something like that, then
you're surprised.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I just find it really impressive.
Yeah. Because like even with Casino, even the opening sequence, which is brilliant. Like first of all, you have the black and white opening sequence, which is basically Bond's origin story and how he became 00. Then you have the whole chase in Uganda, or no, not Uganda. Madagascar, yeah. You have the whole big chase sequence in Madagascar. Amazing opening sequence.
Class.
Done really well. All practical as well.
Yeah.
You know, Craig jumped from those cranes. Obviously there was nets below. But it's just such a good start. And it keeps your excitement up throughout.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, any other thoughts on Casino? I
love the part whenever he gets poisoned and he goes to the car and he's because
he's just so weak.
It's really
and
technical, but he's really I like seeing Bond in kind of a vulnerable position as well, which I think you get a lot of in No Time to Die.
Yeah,
which I think that
because he's
sells
sort
it
of
to
been
me.
out of. Well, even Skyfall slightly.
It's not even though from he's more emotionally vulnerable than physically, I think, which I really like for a change.
Because I think the one thing about Craig's Bond is he's a lot less. It's kind of like Iron Man 3, where he's a lot less reliant on gadgets and stuff. Where it is just him and right. How can I get through here and do this and stuff, like even like the Home Alone sequence in Skyfall, stuff like that, for example, he uses his head rather than just being, you know, oh, could you have a gadget for me? Invisible car, why not? You know,
well,
that kind of thing.
that's more interesting, I think, for like as for the audience, because you're watching him think on the spot, and then you're kind of thinking along with him, like looking around the area, and then whenever he does get a gadget, it really pays off. Like the cars are really cool, and you know, like he only does little things like the watch and No Time to Die, I think, isn't it? And then there's
even the car, and the car's just fucked like by the end of it, like.
Yeah, I think whenever you have too much gadgets, it's lost a little bit. I like whenever the character has to think on the spot, adapt to their surroundings, because that's what Bond is trained to do, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll move on.
Well, I can't comment on Quantum.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm going to say. We're going to move on past Quantum.
But yeah,
I think we will come back
Yeah.
sometime, and we'll probably talk about Quantum someday.
There's scenes in it that just from looking at it, you know, the
It's
movie
not good.
Sahara.
No.
Is it? What do you call him? Blonde-haired guy.
Dan out of down.
Oh God! It doesn't matter. It's got gone now.
It doesn't look good though.
Yeah.
There's very few parts in that film that. The thing about Quantum is, and this is the only thing I will say about Quantum. When you watch it, and if you drive home, by the time you get home, you will have forgotten the film. It's a very forgettable film.
Okay.
And I completely understand why they never kind of mention it again in the rest of, because it's very much a sequel to Casino Royale than, anything else.
Yeah, well, you said that. I kind of...
But not in a good way.
There
not
was
in a good
like
way.
a standalone, then a sequel, then a standalone, then a sequel, and then it's just kind of the finale with those movies, because Spectre's kind of a finale or a sequel to Skyfall a little bit. Well,
yeah, but I think they're all a sequel in their own right.
Oh yeah, well,
I mean,
it's
Skyfall's not really a sequel to Casino Royale or anything. It's not really a sequel to anything.
Yeah.
But Spectre is a sequel to everything.
Yeah.
But mainly Skyfall. But No Time to Die is a direct sequel to Spectre. It's the only one that's really a sequel. Like people say Spectre and Spectre is a sequel to Skyfall. I'm like, oh yeah, fair enough. No Time to Die, 100%. 100% it's a sequel. There's no, it picks off at the end of Spectre, like, know.
Yeah, you have to watch Spectre to really. Skyfall, I think, is the best original song for it.
Oh, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Well, let's just talk about songs.
I think it's the strongest. Because I think it blends. My problem is, because I kept giving out about it, is, well, I'm not a huge fan of Sam Smith as, like...
You're talking about Spectre now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that one as much as Skyfall. I just thought Skyfall was really powerful and, like, kind of really built up the momentum. And I think that's because she has a really powerful, like, kind of very... It can fill the cinema whenever you're sitting there, whereas I just, like, thought Sam Smith was a wee bit, like... I thought it was the wrong choice.
Yeah.
But also you said that it was very last minute.
Oh yeah, well, because I think I'm really annoyed because I really liked the Radiohead original song.
yeah.
Because did I ever tell you why I didn't pick the Radiohead song?
No.
Because they got Radiohead and oh yeah, can you do a song Spectre? We want it to be kind of it's more of a darker take in Bond's life and stuff. They're like, oh yeah, fine, we'll do a song. Did the song. They complained. Producers complained. They're like, that's a bit too dark. Don't get Radiohead to fucking do it then.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, like,
Yeah.
That's like trying to get Zack to do Zack Snyder to do a I don't know, Spider-Man film. You know what I mean? Like I can never picture that, You can't complain if it's gonna be dark, like
yeah, it just felt like they were trying to do what they did in Skyfall, but
oh yeah. Spectre's very much that though, isn't it?
Yeah, like Sam Smith's incredibly talented.
Yeah.
I just don't think he brought the same energy that Adele did in that song, and I think Billie Eilish does a really good job in they all did. They all worked on it. Obviously, all the sound people. But I thought the opening sequence for No Time to Die was really strong too. They're probably my two favorite ones. I know you love Casino.
Well, I just think Casino Royale is just such a just like, it just. He shoots a bullet after, he does his wee origin story, and then he shoots a bullet right into the barrel, and it's like, boom, it's fucking Bond, it's just like, and it's just, my name, it's like, yes, you fucking do, like, it's just such a just banger of an opening, like, I think it just sets it up really well, like, I don't think you could have had, a Billie Eilish, or an Adele, or a Sam Smith, or even Radiohead.
No, not to open.
To open, because I don't think you could have done this dark opening. It had to be this bang, fucking Bond's back in his class sort of a thing.
And I kind of would have rathered something like that for Spectre, because I think it would have been a bit of a different vibe, I think. Because it did go for the really dark vibe towards the end, and you were just kind of like, we need a wee bit of a break.
Well, I think...
It does fit.
Well, like, Quantum of Solace is probably easily the worst, and that's more of because it's... It's like if you got Kanye West and Katy Perry to do a song together. No, Kanye West and Taylor Swift. That's even better. I'd love to see that collab. No, but you know what I mean? It's just two completely different styles.
Yeah, that don't complement each other.
No, they just clash.
Yeah. And
I think the best thing they could have done is either just get Jack White or Alicia Keys to do it. Don't get both, because like they're singing is completely different on their style, and it's this kind of it feels like a bootleg that someone's made where they blended two songs together.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work in any way. But yeah, I agree with you in Skyfall. Skyfall is this kind of like big opening. They were trying to go for... I kind of treat it more... They're trying to do that Casino Royale, but have more of an emotional note in it, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you get that, because it is this big, powerful song, but it's really depressing, Spectre, I'm just like, last minute, I don't give, I don't complain I can't complain too much. I'm just like, it's good, it's great for, last minute job.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan.
No Time to Die, I enjoy. Although when we were watching it, I did turn to you, I think they stopped the song at the end, because obviously the song came out in February, March 2020.
Yeah.
It came out a year and a half ago, like, and everyone that kind of heard it and had been kind of like, oh, right. But I think the good thing is, it has been long enough from whence I had heard it, and everyone else, that it was like, oh, cool, it's almost like a new song again, because it just had been so long. Whether had it been 6 months, we'd be like,
I agree.
Yeah, I think it was a nice emotional kind of song to end. Like, it had to be that kind of emotional, darker take.
Yeah.
Really love that opening sequence, but we'll get on to that later. But yeah, back to Skyfall. What are you saying?
Yeah, like visually, I just think it's the strongest one, obviously, because Deakins and the cinematography. Which... Oh, and then I thought No Time to Die kind of... Obviously isn't quite as... It's not Deakins, but it fits, I think. The others are just a wee bit... tonally, they feel kind of off a little bit, but maybe that's just in comparison.
Do you mean just in cinematography-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like... I do, Skyfall is the best looking one. But, like, there's no... But, it was just because it is Deakins, and Deakins is such a cool style.
Yeah. That could just be preference, though, as well.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You can never show someone a shot of Deakins.
Yeah.
And no one will be like, no, that's shit. Because it always looks good. Like, it's like, you can get, like... I mean, fucking Blade Runner 2049, the whole fucking film's flawless. Like... that's just a great blend between Roger Deakins' cinematography and Denis Villeneuve's directing, like, but no, Skyfall is the best looking one.
Yeah, like, at the end, whenever in the third act, whenever he's like Craig is like running
away
and the house is on fire behind you, you're just like, oh, he's just showing off now.
Yeah, because Deakins is just really good with light.
Really
he's
good.
He's very good. I mean, some of you even see in 1917 the whole night sequence.
Amazing,
I mean, the whole flares and stuff. You know, that's
incredible.
Amazing in a way. Like even the way they shot that was like, holy fuck, like.
Yeah.
But like, because I didn't know for years why. I'm like, why does Skyfall look so good? And then of course I learned about Roger Deakins. I do think it's robbery that film didn't win Best Cinematography. It looks so good. Good that it was nominated though. But no, it is the best shot in every way.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the only complaint I have with that ruins it is there's some weird editing choices. But it was very minor in in ways, just the selection of shots and stuff.
Yeah.
Just because it was so smooth cinematography wise.
Yeah.
That those kind of things stood out.
Sure.
Whereas with Casino, if there was an editing thing, you wouldn't notice because it's that kind of jumpy anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, it is beautiful. Like it is a beautiful film.
Yeah. It probably is my favorite one.
Well, even that opening shot, where it's just him walking to the, screen.
Yeah.
And there's just a little bit of light, and it's all silhouetted and shadowed. Like.
Oh, that's class.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah. Creepy.
Just playing Javier Bardem.
He's just himself, but he's so usual. Creepy and everything.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people...
Not creepy. He's just kind of like haunting or something.
Yeah.
And everything.
Well, a lot of people tie this towards, people treat, Casino's Batman Begins as the Dark Knight. And you can really see that, and it's like, even the parallels where it's like, well, Joker gets captured intentionally, and,
yeah.
Silva gets captured intentionally, and there is a lot of ties in there, and there is a lot of weird coincidences, which I'm just like, wait, this isn't a coincidence. But I do think it's a good Bond film. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people say it's overrated.
Well, I personally, the thing I really like is the fact the villain is more connected to M.
Rather than Bond.
Yeah. Because it just, I know it changes up a little bit as well, and then it gives Bond, because Bond obviously has that very close relationship with M, but you never really get to see it too much. It's more banter or, friction. You really get to see it in Skyfall.
Well, I just kind of also like that kind of parallel that they share, where it's like they've both been through the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the outcome's completely different in a way. They both went through almost the same thing, where M fucked them both over, which almost led to their deaths. Uh-huh. But one became, a villain. One became, still the same person he always was eventually.
Yeah.
I think that just kind of goes to show your character in a way.
Yeah.
Not really what you go through. Because they both went through literally almost the same thing. Mm-hmm. And it was their character that, kept them the same in a way, I do enjoy him in it. I do think he's one of the better villains.
Yeah, he's definitely stronger villain.
I was going to say, I enjoyed him more than Christoph Waltz. And then I watched No Time to Die, and I was like, oh, right. They did him really good here.
He's just not in it enough. I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because he's amazing and everything.
Again, Christoph Waltz just... Well, I think it's kind of weird, because Mads Mikkelsen's just played himself in Casino Royale. Mm-hmm. Javier Bardem just played himself in Skyfall. Yeah. Christoph Waltz is just playing himself in Spectre in No Time to Die. They kind of work well in that kind of a sense.
Yeah.
I think the soundtrack for Skyfall is really good as well. Mm-hmm. Like, just because there's these, when Silva's going to kill M.
Yeah.
When she's reading out the poetry.
Yeah.
And Bond's just running, and there's this big, intense, swelling music.
Yeah.
And he's just running to try and save her, just stuff like that. It's done really well in there.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that in all these films, the soundtracks are very different. Like, I think Skyfall and Spectres are kind of the same. But when it comes to like No Time to Die or Casino, very different. And I like that. Especially, it's probably more the fact that all of them have different directors except for Skyfall and Spectre.
That's what I was going to say. There isn't really a consistency between them all, but I think they all kind of work because they're obviously connected.
Well, they're all written by the same people.
Yeah, which I think that shows, because I think
there is that one consistency, at least, going throughout.
Like, if you take something like Harry Potter, which has loads of different directors, but it still had the same writers, and yet they feel like completely different. Like the franchise doesn't really come together. I think Craig's Bond films actually really do work together, even though they are all different directors, because he's written. It's very consistent in the writing. Like,
I think the only difference is the visual and directing style.
Yeah, which I'm okay with, because you want a bit of a fresh take every time.
But it's the same story, and I like that.
Yeah,
you know, I think that's what Bond should be, though.
Yeah,
consistent in those kind of way. What else about Skyfall? I don't know. Not much more to say about Skyfall. It's pretty good. Like,
it's pretty solid. I think.
It goes more into like Bond's origin. Like his early life.
And I kind of like the whole way through where they never really fully tell you what happened with Bond's origin. Like, you know what happened, they died.
Yeah.
But we don't get a big sad backstory, really. He's just kind of left.
He's just an orphan sort of thing. They don't really go into it anymore. Like.
Which kind of leaves a bit of the mystery that is Bond, which I love.
Yeah, because I think Bond is... I think he is Batman in a way, and they're both very similar in terms of they could be anyone. Yeah. They just have to have this one thing happen to them, and then they could become this, hero in a sense. Because I know, like, it goes more into Bond's origins with Spectre. I mean, they sort of dabble in Casino. Little bit, but not too much. Yeah. Then obviously a lot more in Skyfall. Then obviously even more in Spectre. Yeah. Because it's almost the same. It's the premise of the film, almost his origin. Yeah. But I like the fact that we eventually can sort of piece together in our own minds
what happened.
Or like, we know enough. We don't need to know everything. Yeah.
Which I much prefer, I think, from a storytelling standpoint, because it's open to interpretation. I hate when it's served to you right there and you're like, right, this is what we know, whereas
like we find out his parents' names just because they walk past a grave. They don't have a big conversation about it, there's no in-depth detail about it, that's it, know.
It keeps it fairly simple, which I really like.
Spectre.
Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista is great. Yeah. Because he always is just great. I mean, even just watching this film, I'm just like, why did they just not get him to play Bane? He's pretty much Bane, like...
He's so great.
He's just great. I mean, that's all we can say. There's no more we can say. Dave Bautista is great, you know what I mean?
I'm just excited to see him in more stuff, really, where he's serious.
Yeah, just Warner Brothers, if you're listening, you're probably not, but just get him to play Bane. Thank you. Spectre, immediately you can tell they're trying to replicate Deakins cinematography wise, but it's not Deakins. But you can tell they're trying in a way, because it's Sam Mendes again. Because I think he was filming like Hail Caesar or something at the time with the Coen brothers.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure. Which is actually the last film he shot on film.
Nice.
But because that opening sequence, and I was like, oh, it's pretty cool, and then I was like, oh, right, it's still continuous shot. Oh, right, it's just a really long shot. It's like them trying to show off, but it's so unnecessary, because you could have that. You could have that be like 2.5 minutes long, but they made it like over 5. It didn't need to have this big one continuous shot opening, because later on it gets more interesting with like the helicopter and stuff, and, like the building collapsing, and I think that's a lot more interesting rather than let's just follow Bond going through a hotel. You know, it's very boring. Like,
yeah, and then the transition then is like quite
obvious.
It's quite
Well, it is obvious because they zoom up on a sign and then they pull away. It's like, well, I know you did a cut there. You know, there are some cuts you notice, and then there's ones where like, oh, I didn't notice that. You know. Yeah.
Well, one shots for showing off is very different when they're not necessary.
Yeah, well, it's
it
just
has
a
to be a
showing off.
necessity, like.
Yeah. Because you could have told that story a lot. You could have told the same story had you just started the cut.
Yeah.
You could cut that up, and Eric could cut it up, and you could, you know, got the same story in less time.
Yeah.
What else? Christoph Waltz, great as always.
How do you feel about the Bond being is that in Skyfall or Spectre?
What?
Where Bond's kind of older out of the game.
Oh, that's Skyfall.
That was Skyfall, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They're all meshed in my head now.
Alright. Well, we don't really need to talk about that in Skyfall. Really, do we?
Yeah, no, I didn't, because I was trying to think. I was like, wait, what part of the...
Did we talk about that?
No, we didn't talk about it. And
no,
then I
I
was kind of like,
know.
well, did we not talk about it because it was Inspector? Yeah, because I liked it, because that's what we were talking about then on the way home after seeing No Time to Die. Because they can't do that.
Yeah, you
again.
could have done this kind of like Logan thing or something.
Yeah, where he's out of practice.
Which I like.
I really like that because it's been so overdone in the finale of a thing anyway.
Well, it's weird because that's actually the midpoint of the series.
Yeah.
That he is this washed up kind of, you know, alcoholic essentially. He's like, I don't know how to do this anyway. I don't know if I physically can.
Yeah.
Because you see him struggle and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously when Spectre comes around, he's back in his game again.
Yeah.
Even though Craig is again old.
Yeah, because I was looking that up. Remember about he got injured and he broke his leg, and Daniel Craig was just kind of getting pissed off at that stage. He was like, oh, I'm getting too old to be playing this, getting injuries, you know. So that's probably why one of the reasons that he didn't want to.
The more the series went on, he was just like, oh yeah, I just, you know, it was the more the series went on. He was saying, he was just, oh, just let the stunt guy do it. I can't, because he is like in his 50s, like, you know, now.
Yeah, and it's very physically demanding, and it must be very hard to keep being in such good a shape, because he's in really good shape, Inspector.
Yeah.
But like that must be really hard to keep up, because as you get older, like that's not as easy to maintain. So he does like a really, really good job. He looks really well in No Time to Die. I think it helped
just the fact that he was just constantly in that shape regardless. Because he did the rugby and stuff usually.
I know, yeah.
So that helped, obviously.
It's more of a natural form for him than, you know, say somebody
he's kind of
who's
used to it,
yeah. He's not doing a Bale. He's not changing his body shape every day of the week.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But no, Spectre's sort of a mixed bag, I think, for a lot of people, because a lot of people didn't like Spectre.
Yeah. I
think it was because they were just expecting another Skyfall. But at the same time, they weren't expecting it to be a sequel to Skyfall, but it was just like, but everyone wanted it. It's this kind of weird thing where people wanted this film, but they didn't want it at the same time, you know. Yeah. Like, it's almost like they're fighting with themselves, essentially. But I don't know. I don't even know what to say about Spectre.
I actually enjoyed it. Yeah, I understand like why people don't enjoy it, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, I enjoyed. So obviously, after M dies, there's going to be
spoilers, by the way.
There's going to be, you know, upheaval.
There's going to be something.
Yeah, and I think that they do a good job, Inspector, of showing how important she was and how how
integral she was to the whole structure of
and how like
MI6.
Whenever you mess that up, things kind of go to shit. So I just really like that part, and well, what do you call him? Ray Fiennes. I think he's great. Which I was glad to see more of him after like Judi Dench is gone from it as well.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I think as well you get to see Bond, like, I know we noticed this already because he's very reckless as a character. He just like goes by his own rules. He breaks everyone else's, but because he's obviously going against everybody's orders, and because whatever it's called, MI6, is that what it's called? Has been shut down. The way he's really working on his own, and then has like Q. He always has a way of like getting Q into it to do his bidding. I just really like that because it just shows how cool he is. Not cool, for lack of a better word.
Do this for me, so I can save the world or something.
Yeah. So I just kind of enjoy that because you really get to see what Bond's like on his own, without help, without loads of gadgets, without he can. It just gets a wee bit more complicated. I really like that.
Like Skyfall kind of like reintroduced gadgets to the whole kind of thing in that kind of a sense. And when it came to Spectre, they're like, I suppose we can throw in a couple here. Oh wait, no, we don't really need gadgets, do we? I don't know. Yeah. Do we need secret blood? What's it called? Is it secret blood? I don't know what it's called. Weird Spectre blood. It's kind of strange in that sort of sense.
Yeah. I love all the car chase scenes as well. They're class. The one where Dave Bautista is like chasing him down the.
And he's just set on fire, and even like the plane.
Yeah. Oh.
Like in the snow later on and stuff. Yeah, I think there was this more. Well, not even this more reliance and kind of that, because you had sort of seen that. I don't know. I think it's more of the action that stands out more in that. In Spectre is the vehicle action. Rather than. Even the boat chase and stuff.
Yeah.
I think there is more of it's more dominant than hand-to-hand combat kind of action. Like even the train sequence, I'm like, it's not as exciting, Yeah.
Yeah, and I just like that kind of change to mix it up a wee bit, it gets very repetitive.
Same film.
Yeah. Do it's kind of like when you're watching a Marvel film and all of them are fighting this, they have all the same fighting style, at least it breaks it up a wee bit.
Well, when it came to Christoph Waltz and the twist, you weren't really engrossed by the twist, were you? Well, Dai was Blofeld. Because you didn't even know
Well, I don't know who Blofeld was. I didn't know who
you didn't know who Blofeld was. So then, because like, I remember the trailer came out and Christoph Waltz was cast, and I was like, yeah, he's probably playing Blofeld, and everyone else on the internet was kind of like, oh, he's playing Blofeld. And everyone on the set was like, oh no, he's playing a different guy, he's Franz Oberhauser, and we're like, it's Blofeld, it's very obviously Blofeld.
Yeah.
And then the big reveal that was Blofeld. But I think that's why a lot of people got annoyed about the film, because they were like, it was so obviously Blofeld. But I was like, but I think that made it better. Just knowing it was him, obviously. I was saying it was so obvious that it was going to be him.
Yeah.
I mean, the film's called fucking Spectre for a start. Like,
well, I don't know anything about James Bond lore. Those kind of things don't bother me because I'm not like a long-term fan,
Yeah.
Last one? Or do you have anything else
Well, I was just going to say, up until this point, the villains have been interesting, except for Chromosols and Frog Eye Boy.
Oh yeah,
he does have these bulging eyes, though, doesn't he? And he is just not a threat in any way.
No.
So yeah, the final one, the ultimate, the reason everyone's been listening. No Time to Die.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Spoiler heavy, obviously. The usual, the works from this podcast. Go on.
I think I enjoyed it a good bit more than you, maybe. I thought it was a good send-off.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes that's kind of hard to do. Like I said, Bond is quite emotionally vulnerable in it, which is, again, kind of a change to what we've seen before. It's going back to what he was before Casino Royale. When he gets kind of betrayed. He has that kind of vulnerability again. I love the family. The aspect with this spoiler child.
Yeah.
I was a bit disappointed with Rami Malek's character. Not him, because I think he's doing a good job with
I
what
think
he has.
Yeah, I don't think he has anything to work
Yeah.
with, and he was just like, fuck, right, I was thinking of this myself.
Yeah. It's just not really about him.
Mm.
It's more about Bond, which I'm okay with because it is like his send off. But you know, I was really happy with it when I came out at the end. You know, I was just kind of satisfied. It didn't blow me away. But I was pretty content, which I think is fair enough.
Well, I think this film, the one thing this film gets right is it's very much, you know, Bond's kind of come full circle. And even the film itself is layered that kind of way. Because, like, even, not the opening scene, but, you know, the whole, like, city they're in, that whole sequence is very sort of, you know, the whole, oh, we're in love, all this. It's very reminiscent of the third act of Casino Royale.
Yeah.
You know, when they're in Venice. You know, and I think that's intentional in a way, where this film's almost kind of like, not really Casino Royale in reverse, but it's kind of a blend of all the films before. Like, it's a blend of some parts of Spectre, some parts of Skyfall, some parts of Casino Royale, all in this one film, which kind of makes it its own kind of thing, without feeling like that too much. I was really interesting opening scene.
Yeah.
Because it's the first time it doesn't open with Bond. You know, it doesn't open with Bond. It's really this eerie, what the fuck is going on? But, you know, you immediately remember Inspector, the story Madeline was telling, and you're like, oh yeah, this is the story.
Yeah.
And I think even Rami Malek's character's costume's amazing in that. You know, the mask is very creepy.
So creepy, yeah.
And you see this man who is so weak and powerless.
Yeah. And
he's chasing a little girl who just kind of fucked him up. And, you know, and then, you know, well, obviously saves her then from the lake. But even just the way it's shot is so nice.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, it does set up the film in kind of a strange way. I don't really know. It's like, I think my biggest critique of this film is they wanted to make a bigger threat than Spectre, which was too hard to do, so they just kind of killed Spectre straight away.
Yeah.
And then tried to make it as if, you know, Rami Malek's character is like this big bad and stuff. I think I don't like the fact that it is this world-ending threat.
Yes, I agree.
I think it should have been more involved with Spectre, because I think Spectre is more of a big threat than poison. You know, I just find the weird poison stuff kind of like comes out of left field. Because none of the films before this in Bond, they're not really world-ending threats.
No.
You know, they're quite just realistic threats.
Yeah.
You know, like the first one is nothing. There's not really a big threat. It's more of just a normal kind of mission. Casino Royale. Quantum, we'll skip. Skyfall. Skyfall, it's just like, alright, it's a threat to just MI6.
Yeah.
And just intelligence agencies. Spectre, again,
it's kind of the same.
Well, it's more of a threat to Bond.
Yes.
And, you know, intelligence agencies as a whole. But it's more of a personal threat to Bond, obviously.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's just like, oh yeah, the world is probably fucked. And I think from watching this, I was like, they got big Mission Impossible Fallout vibes.
Okay.
Mixed with Avengers Infinity War kind of vibes. Because I think... Because Avengers Infinity War is just like, oh, I want like half the population, all this, right? Mission Impossible Fallout, kind of the same thing. Where it's like, oh, I want to, you know, destroy some of the population. And then with this, it's just like, yeah, I just want to kill everyone. She's like, what? Why though? What is his motive though? I genuinely don't understand Saphir's motives.
Yeah.
Because they don't, you know.
Well, I think that's down to they didn't write him as kind of, there's no depth to his character.
They should have just made him Dr. No. I don't know why they didn't.
What's Doctor No?
Doctor No. It's hard to explain. Well, Doctor No was Bond's first villain, obviously from Doctor No. Maybe it was his first book as well. I'm not sure whether it was the first book or not, but no, I think Casino Royale was the first book. Anyways, I digress. There was a lot of parallels because there's a lot of similarities with this film where it's like Bond goes to Jamaica and talks to Felix Leiter about getting this stuff from whatever. Same thing happens in Doctor No.
Okay.
At the end of Doctor No falls into like a vat of poison and his skin's all like burnt and stuff, which is very similar to Severe,
Yeah.
And I think it would have been a nice kind of bookend in Bond, having his first villain be his last.
Yes. Okay.
It would have been an interesting way to bring in Doctor No, and everyone thought it was going to be Doctor No.
Yeah,
I don't know why they
remember that. Yeah.
Didn't just I'm seeing the title because everyone just saw the title, put a comma where no was, and it just said no time to die. I remember that, but no, I don't blame Rami Malek.
No,
I just blame the writers because it's just kind of strange that he has no kind of character.
Well, it is a wee bit convoluted, the plot. Like, there's too much going on for his character to get a chance to...
Well, yeah, because I think had you had Blofeld just been the villain again, that's great because we know his motivations already.
Yeah.
You don't need to make ones up.
Yeah.
That would have been fine, and we could still focus on Bond's story.
Yeah.
So I just don't know why they didn't do that.
Just wanted to have a different villain.
Yeah, and Christoph Waltz is probably at his best in this film for the 5 minutes he's in. Because he's really threatening. He's just there in a chair, locked up, and he's just so antagonising to Bond.
But I love that scene because Bond really never breaks. And
but you can see he gets him to break.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by emotional vulnerability. That is what Bond is like throughout the whole film. He is he wants to just have a good life, and it keeps being taken away from him.
Yeah.
And anybody that's getting in the way of that, is really pissing him off at this stage. And I think that really works for being an older man as well.
Yeah.
So I understand. I completely agree with all your points about the villain problem, kind of the plot thing.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed the Bond stuff.
I
kind of overlooked the rest of the
thing. I think it's really well shot, and we did see a 4K screening of it, and it was very nice.
Yeah.
It did look very good. Yeah, I think it's...
Also, the kid was so cute.
The kid was very cute.
She was so cute.
No, it was just the eyes.
I know, but
the eyes.
She was so cute.
But then I'm just
the
looking.
French, the way she was speaking French as well.
It was just the eyes, and then all I'm thinking, every time I look at Daniel Craig, I was like, "Oh, your eyes, man," because they really brought out the prominence in this film.
Yeah.
Where he's like, "Yeah, James Bond has really big eyes."
I assume that's what the whole point was in the poster, where his eyes are colour popped.
Yeah. Ever since Black and White,
remember his eyes are really blue. There's a character in here that has really blue eyes.
But also, I just think it's just people like Daniel Craig's blue eyes.
He does. He's like the Cillian Murphy and Nolan kind of thing, where it's just like,
just
show us your eyes.
Show me your eyes. Yeah. But no, I think they did do Bond's character kind of really well in this. Especially end his character really well in this, and have his full arc essentially. I think his relationship with characters in this film is really well done. Felix is again brilliant in this film.
Robbed.
What?
He was robbed.
He was robbed.
He should have got more screen time.
That's true. In all of them.
In all of them, yeah.
He's only in 3 for fuck's sake.
He is great. Yeah, I thought that was really sad as well.
Oh yeah, because it just shows the vulnerability of Bond in this film. That it's like, oh fuck, I can lose people in my life. You know? I mean, you obviously saw that with them, but even just as friends, and the Armas. I thought it was kind of strange that she was only in for such little time. I thought she was going to come back at the end, because she's only in one sequence, and that's the sequence in Cuba.
Yeah.
And she is very good. No, I think she is very good. I love her character where she's like, oh, this is her first big mission.
Yeah, she's class.
Oh, she's drinking away. Like, but she's very good for she's like, oh, I have only like 3 weeks training or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as well, the thing I loved about her character, her scenes, was obviously she's wearing a dress and heels.
Yeah.
And like,
it's very difficult for her to actually perform in combat.
But you can be so playful with that. Yeah. And imagine just getting kicked in the face with like really sharp stiletto or something. Like, that would be so painful. I love that whole, it's just so playful. I really love that.
Because like even Bond's relationship with Lashana Lynch's character, know me, obviously 007 in this song, I like the relationship where it is almost mentor-mentee, but that kind of nice mentor-mentee where it's just kind of like, you know, oh well, no, I am better than you, and then eventually she does become, you know, his equal in a way. Yeah. I thought that was kind of nice. I thought they did do that well.
Well, they did break it in, because at the start I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like her.
I did like that, because it wasn't, you're meant to hate her at the start. She's like, no, he's fucking 007. Then by the end you're just like, oh yeah, no, she's 007. You know?
Yeah, because it's kind of a territorial thing, and then once you see them kind of come together,
and they respect each other. I like that. That was done very well.
Yeah, no, I thought they passed the mantle very. They did a good job in that. But are they going to do films with her?
Not sure whether that'll happen or not.
Because, like, I don't think she's as interesting a character. Maybe because it wasn't her film, she didn't get developed.
I think that was only because this film was more of just a send off for this character, and they're just gonna completely reboot it now.
Well, the other thing as well is James Bond is known for doing his own thing and being rebellious, whereas she's very by the books, and that's not as interesting to watch. So that's why I wouldn't do a 007 movie. I would have to do another James Bond movie. Yeah, you know, that character has to. I just think she's different in her own way.
Yeah, I think that's what sets them apart in a way. Is like, you know, she's very by the books and he's the complete up.
Which I love. I love the dynamic between them.
Because the one relationship I thought was very good in this was his relationship with Madeline, and I do think it was very believable in this film compared to the previous one. Because the previous one I was like, really, you're just falling in love and all that? I don't really, get that. But in this one, it was very believable, and I could like completely understand. That was like obviously, the thing that was driving the whole film for a start. So it kind of had to be strong.
Yeah. And the way they brought up Vesper and that whole...
Yeah, they brought that closure in a way. But I thought the relationship that was really good was Bond and Mallory. Bond and Mallory's relationship was very interesting in this film because Mallory was doing some bad shit. And Bond was like, why the fuck? I fucking told you not to do that. Why the fuck are you doing it? Like, it sort of just shows that it's like, since Bond's been gone and everyone's been following orders, they need that person to sort of like...
call them out in their shit.
Yeah, essentially.
Nobody's keeping them in check.
Yeah.
You have to have people asking questions and doing things differently.
So I think that's why Bond is such a great asset to MI6. And even the 00 program.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I do enjoy No Time to Die. I do want to go watch it again. I probably will go watch it again.
Yeah. It was funny in parts. Like, I thought the humour was okay. It wasn't like too much. There's only me and another woman in the cinema laughing though. It was just like wee giggles.
Well, I think the way if I was going to rank them would be Quantum of Solace. Obviously, but
I was like, what?
Not best to best to worst, but obviously I'm starting from worst to best.
Yeah.
So Quantum of Solace, Spectre, No Time to Die, Skyfall, and then Casino. That's the way I would do it personally.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. I kind of think it's a close call for me between No Time to Die and Skyfall though, but I think that's more just because of the character more than the plot.
Yeah.
In terms of, I think Skyfall is a better film than No Time to Die, though.
Yeah. Overall, just kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I think they all kind of stand on their own, but it's just No Time to Die kind of is this finale, but has to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't blame it for that in a way. Yeah, I'm very interested. I really want to know what Danny Boyle's No Time to Die would have been like. It does interest me in a way, just to see how different it would have been.
Yeah.
From what it obviously is.
Well, finales always they always interest me because.
Is everything tied up?
Yeah. Well, it's just how do you do it? You know, like, do you do something completely different to be original, or do you try to do
wrap up everything?
Yeah, and send off the character that's been kind of.
I think you have to do that though.
Yeah, and you do get, like, I think a lot of things get bogged down a lot. Like, a lot of films and shows get bogged down on trying to wrap everything up.
Yeah.
Because I think there can be a good way of doing it. And I just thought they done a pretty good job of wrapping up it as a franchise. Which meant that the actual plot of the film was on the weaker side. Whereas if they had went for a really good, strong plot, it mightn't have catered to fans of the series as much. But what do I know?
Just a theory, is it?
Yeah.
Just a film
no,
theory.
it's just personally how I feel, you know. I always think that it's really hard to do a good send off for a franchise, and I think if you come out of the cinema feeling satisfied, I think that's good enough.
Oh, I don't think this is the best Bond film.
No.
I think it is middle-ish, if not higher than middle.
Yeah.
But I respect it, and I think it was a good way to send off that character. But yeah, any other thoughts on?
Not really, just sad. It's no more Daniel Craig.
Yeah, no more Daniel Craig.
Don't think he's sad.
No, I think he's happy with his Knives Out $100 million deal.
Yeah, I really loved him. I thought he brought something different.
I like that he did another film.
Yeah.
You know, after Spectre, I was like, really, they're going to do another one? And now I am happy that they did another one.
Yeah.
And then that's the kind of end of that character.
And it is wrapped up, so you can't.
Yeah.
He's not going to be in another one at age 60.
Yeah.
The line.
80.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think we'll return to Bond some stage, probably do Brosnan or.
I won't be joining yet.
But I think we will at least return to Bond some way or another.
Maybe with Dave or Adam. Definitely not with me.
Yeah. Well, Dave's never seen any of these.
Oh, well, there you go.
I think he's only seen the old ones, but yeah. Thank you for listening or downloading. Either way, I'm happy. Thank you to Buzzsprout for hosting as always. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at The Stay Podcast. And me and Dave will be back next week for Predator series. See ya.
All right.